Many legislative races are already decided before Oklahoma primary election day. An eastern Oklahoma sheriff has been suspended for embezzlement and bribery charges. And the Cherokee Nation celebrates the grand opening of a new community center. I'm Nick Daniels. This is the KGOU AM News Brief for Monday, June 10th. Before voters cast their ballots for primaries on June 18th, more than a third of the legislative offices are already decided. State Capitol reporter Lionel Ramos has more.
50 of the 127 seats up for grabs in the House and Senate have already been won. That accounts for 40% of legislative elections in Oklahoma this year. And it's too late for anyone to oppose those running for their district uncontested. The official candidate filing period ended back in early April. Oklahoma is not the only state seeing some public office hopefuls and people wanting to keep their elected positions running without a contest. States like Texas, Nebraska, and Alabama are seeing similar trends, and in some cases to a greater degree. I'm Lionel Ramos.
A sheriff in eastern Oklahoma has been suspended after being accused of embezzlement and bribery. OPMX's Kate Kelly has more on last week's ruling.
A judge ordered the interim suspension of Pittsburgh County Sheriff Chris Morris. Morris has been charged with 2 felonies and is accused of using his public office for his personal financial gain. An independent prosecutor's affidavit says Morris illegally sold his personal Polaris utility vehicle to the sheriff's office for almost $30,000. He has also been accused of negotiating free repairs for his Polaris UTV in exchange for letting an auto shop upcharge repairs for 2 Pittsburgh County vehicles. Morris denies any wrongdoing. Morris has been the Pittsburgh County Sheriff for 8 years and is running for re-election in the Republican primary on June 18th. He's suspended until his removal trial, which is scheduled to begin at the end of July. In Oklahoma City, I'm Kate Kelly.
The Cherokee Nation opened the Woody Hare Community Center in Kenwood last week. Katie Hallam with the Oklahoma Public Media Exchange has details on the importance it holds for the community.
Part of the Cherokee Nation Reservation and 30 miles north of Tahlequah, Kenwood has a population of 904. Over 500 of those residents are indigenous. The new community center replaces the original one, which was built in the 1970s. Cherokee Nation Chief Chuck Hoskins says the $10 million investment is part of the tribe's mission to keep even the smallest areas of the reservation prosperous.
We mean to keep Cherokee communities alive and thriving. That is the choice we're making, and we're making it right here today in the great community of Kenwood.
Donnie Squirrel has lived in Kenwood her entire life. She says the new center is a monumental step for Kenwood.
It's hard to almost take in. I mean, I'm looking at it, and it's still hard to believe that this exists here now.
The new center is over 33,000 square feet and will host numerous activities, programs, and events. In Kenwood, I'm Katie Hallam.
The U.S. Supreme Court says the federal government is responsible for overhead costs associated with billing insurance companies for tribal nations. OPMX's Sarah Lisi has more on the recent decision supporting healthcare programs administered by tribes.
In a 5-4 ruling, the Supreme Court sided with the San Carlos Apache Tribe in Arizona and the Northern Arapaho Tribe in Wyoming. The ruling, delivered on Thursday, holds the government responsible for overhead costs. John Echohawk is a Pawnee attorney and executive director of the Native American Rights Fund. He says the decision honors Congress's commitment to tribal nations' rights to self-determination. The court ultimately affirmed the 1975 Indian Self-Determination Act, ensuring tribes have the support to run health care programs like the Indian Health Service. The 2 tribes involved in the case say the government underpaid them by about $4.5 million over 2 to 3 year contracts. I'm Sarah Lisi.
Oklahoma City Parks is seeking input from community members on a new park being developed. Swisher Park will be 119 acres just north of the intersection of Southwest 15th Street and County Line Road. A park development meeting is planned for 6 o'clock June 18th at Mustang North Middle High School in Yukon. The park is funded by the voter-approved 2017 Go Bond program. You'll find more news at our website, kgou.org, and on the KGOU PM News Brief podcast.
I'm Rachel Martin. You probably know how interview podcasts with famous people usually go. There's a host, a guest, and a light Q&A. But on Wildcard, we have ripped up the typical script. It's a new podcast from NPR where I invite actors, artists, and comedians to play a game using a special deck of cards to talk about some of life's biggest questions. Listen to Wildcard wherever you get your podcasts, only from NPR.